Death Stranding is like coffee. The first time you drink it, it's bitter, strange, and almost a bit off-putting. You sip it and wonder what everyone else is seeing in this cup of soon-to-be liquid gold. The initial experience in Death Stranding is similarly just living in the awkwardness of all of it. You trip over rocks, slip on muddy slopes, throw bags of your own bodily fluids at ghosts, and you really start to think that maybe the people who said this game is a masterpiece were just being super dramatic and riding on the almighty Hideo Kojima with no seatbelt on, I might say. Yet something keeps you moving forward. You take another sip and then another step, and without realizing it, the taste of this imaginary coffee starts slowly growing on you. That weird and creeping change is what defines Death Stranding as a game. It's not a title that tries to win you over in the first hour or maybe even the 10th hour. It's a game that plants a seed and lets it grow while you're not paying attention, and once you hit your final hours with it, it becomes something you'll likely remember as more of an experience than an actual video game. So subscribe if you're new and let's get into my final hours in Death Stranding and how it changed me as a human. In the beginning, the game feels, well, empty. You're alone with Sam, trudging through wet grass and uneven hills, while the rain eats away at everything you carry. Deliveries are simple but slow. You start to really question whether this is all there is to it. You might even laugh and agree somewhat to the memes and all of these things that people are saying about this being a walking simulator. And it is, at least in the first hours, but then the feeling shifts almost completely. You find a ladder left by another player, for example. You place it over a river and it saves you from falling that one time. Later you leave your own ladder for someone to hopefully use themselves, and they like it, and you receive that like via the weird in-game social media thing. You feel a strange warmth from that tiny exchange. The game does not point to it with fireworks, it just lets the feeling kind of sink in. You begin to notice more and more of these moments. The quiet hum of your boots as you cross a valley, the way the music swells out of nowhere at just the right time, or the relief of finding a safe house or a charging pole after a long trek of just pure tiredness. Without realizing, the loneliness starts to feel a bit different. It becomes comforting, kind of like drinking coffee alone in the early morning hours when the world is still asleep. It's like you're alone, but you're not really alone, if that makes any sense. As you keep going, the deliveries kind of change. They stop feeling like chores and start feeling like acts of genuine care. There's a doctor who desperately needs medicine for his patients, so you have to deliver these medicines all over the snowy fields. There's this garbage man lover boy as well, who didn't know that his partner is alive because the mother lied to him about the daughter's life, of course. And then you have to now put them back together by delivering the woman to the man, and then they get together, they fall in love, and then they realize maybe this is not all there is to it, and now we're not in love and we regret everything. Like, it makes it so freaking human. It is crazy. These missions should be mundane and repetitive, yet they feel like something more because every step costs you something. The terrain fights you, the rain weakens you, and those BTs hunt you, like that feeling of taking a actual dump once you've had your first sip of coffee in the morning. You start to care about these people you deliver to, and because of this, the game makes you earn every single connection. The repetition that once felt boring starts to feel somewhat meaningful. It's like the slow brew of a good coffee. You don't get the full flavor right away, but when it comes, it is oh so rich. By the time you reach the western coast, the game has already worked its way into your very core. You stand there looking at the ocean that is not blue, it's black and thick. Maybe I should actually pause on that moment right there before any comments take it the extra step, broski. But the sky is gray, the wind cuts through you. You should feel triumphant because this is the end of the road essentially, but you don't. Instead, you feel a bit unsettled, if anything. You thought you would have answers by now, but yet you only have more questions, and they seem to multiply ever so. The coast is not a victory screen, it's a mirror as it reflects everything you have been through so far, and it forces you to think about why you did all of those things that brought you here. You realize the game has slowly but quietly been shaping you until now. And then the game does something surprisingly bold. It makes you walk all the way back to where it all began.
What?
At first it felt like a cruel joke, really. Like you spent hours crawling across this broken country and now you have to do it all again in reverse. Yet as the miles pass, the strange feeling starts to creep in again. You start to appreciate this long walk, oddly enough. It's like an encore to a concert. You thought it was over, but the band comes back for one last song and suddenly you don't want it to end anymore. Each area you pass stirs up memories of what went through there. The battles, the storms, the ladders left by strangers. It becomes less about finishing the game at that point and more about learning learning to say goodbye to this experience. You are essentially retracing your steps, but you are not the same person who first walked them. Remember that Miley Cyrus thing that she said about the journey and not the destination in that weird, almost non-human voice?
The journey is usually the part that you remember anyway.
Well, during this return trip, you start to realize exactly that. Death Stranding has a way of making silence speak louder than any possible words. The quiet stretches of walking where nothing happens except the sound of your boots and the wind become moments of peace. I found myself carrying that feeling outside the game as well, which seems very weird to say. I started to enjoy walking more in real life. I started to notice how silence can be calming instead of empty. The game kind of matures you in small ways that you would never expect it to. By the time you finish and see the credits, it kind of hits you, man. Death Stranding is not a game about delivering packages at all. I mean, yes, it's literally also about that, but the game is always about connection. Not just connecting fictional cities, but connecting with yourself in small moments that often pass unnoticed. It is not a thrill ride. It's not a constant explosion of action. It's a slow, deliberate, and sometimes even frustrating game. But like coffee, once you get used to the taste, it becomes something you don't really want to give up all that easily. Looking back at it now in 2025, Death Stranding stands out even more, if anything. Games today are faster and louder than ever, always trying to grab your attention with bigger battles and flashier moments. Death Stranding is exactly the opposite. It gives you long stretches of absolutely nothing and asks you to find meaning in them. And funny enough, it actually works. This is why the experience sticks like bees on honey, if that makes any sense. It is also why I think we may never actually get something like this again. Death Stranding 2 is the literal sequel to this game and it has already made traversal a lot easier, cutting out some of the tedious parts that players really complained about, and for good reason. That will make it more accessible for many players to come, and that is fine to an extent, but it also means that we will likely never feel this exact kind of journey again. The stubbornness of the first game, the way it forces you to earn every moment, it's part of what makes it special, and I'm glad I experienced it in its rawest form. When I think about Death Stranding now, I keep coming back to that oh so beautiful cup of coffee. There are so many kinds of it. Some are instant and give you a quick hit. Some are sweetened so much that you hardly actually taste the coffee at all. But the best ones take time to brew. They are not for everyone, but for the people who give them a chance, they become something you look forward to every single day. Death Stranding is that slow brew. It's really bitter at first, but it lingers in the best possible way. It changes how you taste other games as well. It changes how you see the little things in life as well, like walking or a quiet moment when nothing is happening on screen or in real life. That's why my final hours in Death Stranding felt so freaking heavy. Not because the game forced me to feel anything really, but because it gave me the space to feel it on my own terms. I walked across mountains, crossed blackened beaches, and retraced my own steps. And somewhere along the way, without me realizing it, the game stopped being just a game. It became a journey that carried me. I think that is the highest compliment anyone could give a video game, really. Death Stranding is not a ride you take for excitement, it's a road you walk to find yourself a little bit more at the end. Death Stranding will not be for everyone, which is completely fine. But for those who give it the time of day, it becomes something truly unforgettable. It's a game that you don't just play, it's a game that you live through. And like the perfect cup of coffee in the morning or any time of day you wish to drink it, it's the taste that stays with you long after your last sip. Oh, that pretty much wraps it up for this video. Hope you did enjoy it. If you did, man, let me know what your final hours were like when Death Stranding, man. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Man, let's get it going, man. Welcome to the party. We talk about all things RPGs on this channel. Click these links or this singular link right here to watch more videos on the channel about me rambling on about random things. Hope you guys have a great day wherever you're from, whichever time of day you watch this at. I've been your broski, so keep on trucking my dudes. Peace out.